People that use Tinder. Got any good, bad hookup stories? NSFW. Not me, but a friend of mine hooked up with the morning weather girl for the local news station thanks to Tinder. Currently reading this thread while waiting to meet some girl from Tinder. Based on some of these responses, I will either have a great time or she'll be nothing like her pictures. I will update later if anyone cares. Edit, and she never showed up. Hey, I'm looking to make $40 today. Do you think that's something you could help me with? No thanks. I could get you $10 of the way there. My buddy used it. Found a girl. And they've been dating since around Easter. They have a totally normal relationship. Except that we call her Tinder Girl. Single quote. The proper term is Tinderella. I call them Tinderonis, but I like yours better. Every girl on Tinder just wants me to follow their Instagram. King pointless. I chatted a girl up that had a nice dresser in one of her pics. I needed a dresser for my new house. She ended up selling it to me for $10. That was a good hookup. She thought you were trying to get in her drawers. You took the whole dresser. I met up with a girl so we could watch Frozen together. We actually watched Frozen together. She was disappointed and I was mesmerized. I'd never seen that before. I used it. I'm a fat ugly bâtard. I matched with a girl who wasn't too shabby looking. Texted for a few days until we were both off. I picked her up. She was very cute. Went to dinner at a Japanese steakhouse and had a good time. Drank some sake. She suggested we go back to my place, woo. We stopped by her apartment to get her car and she wants to get clothes. She follows me to my house and we make out in my driveway for a few and start to move towards the house. I'm excited. Gonna get laid and all, yes sir. Been a while. So we are on my front porch and she goes, EEW. What's that? And points to this baseball-sized toad that hangs out on my porch. This is his second year it there. Anyways, I explain he is cool and I knock beetles off my porch light for to eat and stuff. She walks over to him. Looks at me. Like intense eye contact and proceeded to slowly stomp on my toad. Now at this point I was experiencing several emotions. Shock. Anger. Rage. I shouted at her, WTF. Why'd you do that? To which she replied, I wanted to make you mad so you'd F me hard. I was speechless while I processed what I had just witnessed. I told her to get the F of my property. She flips out. We yell back and forth. I sprayed her with the hose and she finally leaves only to show up 20 minutes later topless on my deck in the backyard. She had walked from down the road and pulled like 6 pickets down from my fence to get in the backyard. Cops came. She cried her way out of trouble with them and left. Poor porch toad. I got Tinder about a month ago and met with my first live one last week. We had actually been messaging for about a week or two. Pretty different schedules to blame. But we ended up meeting up for a concert which led to drinks which led to me inviting him back to my house which led to SX. The SX lasted King forever and not in a good way. He was one of those drunks who just can't King come and instead of admitting defeat just keeps pounding and pounding. Gentlemen. This is not desirable. Hurts after not too long. There is chafing involved. In the end I was just so over it that I rolled over and went to sleep. Sorry. Dude. I'm giving him another chance this weekend with hopefully less alcohol so we'll see. Finally something I can answer. I've met 6 girls since I downloaded the app in January. Most have been pretty negative so it never got past conversation. Then I lost weight. I've experienced 2 firsts in my life thus far. 1. I've had SX on a beach at night. Complete with sticks poking my ass. 2. Post or ASM a girl has patted me on the head and said, good job, 10 out of 10 would do again. My buddy just told me his story last week. Apparently he had it for a while and got nothing. His first hookup was some really cute girl, showed me pics, that was somehow in the sports industry. She got them special access to a game, then they went to a party at somebody's uber expensive apartment, rooftop garden in NYC. In the millions. He got a BJ in the bathroom. He is not the guy to brag. But it was over the top enough that he had to share the story. I recently started using Tinder and happened to get pretty damn lucky with the first girl I actually met up with. We met and got ice cream and did some making out and stuff the first time. And again another time. But the third time was quite a different story. She and I met at a bar that I usually go to on Wednesday nights. My friends work there and they have a great special called group therapy. She ended up being pretty drunk that night, which is unusual for her. And we started fooling around after heading to her apartment. At some point she told me that she was pretty inexperienced and wanted a good story if we were going to hook up. Somehow we ended up going to a lake in the middle of campus and found a secluded spot where we fk'd for almost 2 hours. Inexperience apparently did little to affect her enthusiasm. And it did end up being a damn good story. Plan on seeing her again tonight. I met a girl and we met up for drinks. We talked for a while and eventually ended up going to a late lunch. We texted for a couple days and ended up going out again. And she took me back to her place. Easily one of the best times of my life. She's a sweet girl. I hope to see her again soon when our schedule matches up again. I met this girl on Tinder who works part-time nearby my apartment. She's really hot and stops by my place on her way home just to have sex and then she leaves. It's awesome. I was traveling to Riga, Latvia via bus from Estonia. I was planning to spend few days there to explore the city. Lux Express has free Wi-Fi, so I was killing the time by looking at girls on Tinder. I started talking to this one local brunette and we kinda hit it off. She suggested to meet her later on in town. And I agreed. After dropping off my stuff to the hostel, I went to meet her in one of the local establishments, which sell drink. When I entered the bar I was stunned by her looks. And to be honest, I probably couldn't get any intelligent comment out of me until I had downed few beers. Luckily she liked to talk. And kept telling me about the old town and Riga's nightlife. I think I managed to ask few intelligent questions about her and tell little about myself. We walked around the old town of Riga and talked for few hours and I thought everything was going really well. Later we met up with few of her friends and went to this one nightclub. We danced and generally had a good time. Towards the end of the evening I made out with her few times and was, let's just say, more than excited of my prospects. She told me she's going to the ladies' room and decided that I had to have few drinks more to calm my nerves. I was on dry spell. We went back to my hostel and started making out. I had my own room. Then all of a sudden she stopped and gave the price list pitch. At this point I was between furious and HRNY. Seriously considering what I could afford. I ended up throwing her out of my room. I wish that would have been the end of it, but she started screaming and kicking the door. I ended up thrown out of the hostel with her. She threatens me to give her cash or the boys will come after me. She starts to follow me when I left to search for new accommodation. I walk few blocks listening to her threats and phone calls. At the end of the street I noticed few guys start to walking fast towards us. I have never ran so fast with a backpack in my life. Not even in the army. I managed to lost them in this big park at the edge of Riga's old town. By hiding in the bushes. I think I waited there for an hour or two. Before proceeding back to the bus station and getting the hell out of Latvia. I went out to get drinks with a girl. I proceeded to admit that I was completely broke and we would have to split the drinks. She not only paid for those drinks, but then paid for the food we later ate. More drinks. And gave me a quality BJ at the end of the night. Thanks, Tinder. I'm probably late to the party, but I'll share because my Tinder story is terrible. And that's what we're all here to see. I matched with this really cute girl. All of her pictures were professionally done. Like senior pictures. We texted for a few days and she seemed alright. Not exactly interesting or funny, but as any sane male using Tinder, I wasn't looking for anything more than a hookup. One night she invited me to pick her up. Because she was sneaking out of her house. I agreed and drove to her neighborhood to meet her. I called her when I was at the gate and she sounded funny. It sounded like she was eating and her mouth was full. Thought nothing of it and waited for her to come out. She rounds the corner walking kinda funny. And wearing weird clothes. Like clothes a 12-year-old girl would wear. We're both 19, she gets in my car and she's kinda making a funny face. As she reached to hold my hand without saying hello, it hit me. This girl was dead. Her little brother came running around the corner yelling, telling her to come back because their parents were gonna go crazy. She yelled back out of my open window. It's okay. I'm with my boyfriend. He's gonna take care of me. My king pants. I calmly told her she should probably go with her brother, but she wouldn't let go of my hand. After some convincing she went back with her brother and I sped the F out of there. She called me about 20 times. Texted me saying she needed me because her parents were going mental being mad at her. I sent one text back saying she should listen to them and not sneak out anymore and never texted her again. She still texts me to this day inviting me to go places with her family as her boyfriend. And I never reply. Now I Skype everyone before I meet them in person. Got drunk. Liked everyone. Went to sleep. Woke up. 0 matches. Deleted it in a fit of hungover anger. I am SXY and I know it. And ain't no fucking app gonna tell me otherwise. I was reluctant to go when she asked me out cause I'd never met anyone from online before. We ended up hooking up and all that. Which was nice. But on my ride home she called me. Not once. Not twice. But thrice. Then she texted me. I fell asleep and woke up with 7 text messages and quite a few Snapchats from her. I attempted to break it off nicely and politely inform her I wasn't looking to date or anything. But she wasn't really having it. I ended up insulting her until she said I was the biggest D alive and stopped texting me. 3/10. Would probably still do it again. At least she complimented your DCK. I matched up with a 40-year-old recently single female, and me in my mid-20s. We met up at a bar. Had a drink and ended up making out in the parking lot. A few nights later we met up at her place and watched a movie. Of course, we didn't really watch the movie. She gave the best BO job I've ever had in my life and was a square-erder. So, thanks Tinder.